Hey there, folks. Just a quick word before we dive in. Make sure you follow Sky Alert USA so you don't miss this video and all the important updates we've got coming your way. Staying alert really can help keep you and your loved ones safe. So, here's the deal. A massive storm system is barreling toward the United States right now. And what started as a routine weather pattern has just morphed into something far more dangerous than meteorologists initially predicted. Within the next 48 hours, over 75 million Americans will be directly in the path of severe weather that's bringing not one, not two, but three distinct threats that could turn this Valentine's Day weekend into a nightmare scenario for millions of families. Right at this very moment, atmospheric conditions are aligning in a way that hasn't been seen in years. We're tracking damaging winds exceeding 70 miles per hour, baseball-sized hail capable of destroying vehicles, and a tornado outbreak that could spawn multiple strong tornadoes across a 1,200-mile stretch from the Texas Gulf Coast all the way to the Florida Panhandle. But here's where things get really interesting, and this is the part that has weather experts completely revising their forecasts in real time. The northern end of this storm system is now showing signs of a dramatic shift that could dump heavy snow across major metropolitan areas that weren't even in the forecast 24 hours ago. Let me break down exactly what's happening in the atmosphere right now, because understanding the mechanics of this storm will help you grasp just how serious this situation has become. We've got a powerful low-pressure system that's currently organizing over the southern plains. This isn't your typical winter storm. What we're dealing with is a multi-hazard event that's going to impact different regions in completely different ways, and the timing couldn't be worse with Valentine's Day weekend travel plans already in full swing. The severe weather component kicks off today across Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. We're talking about 23 million people under some level of tornado threat right now. The Storm Prediction Center has issued a slight risk of severe weather, which might sound minor to the untrained ear, but let me explain what that actually means. A slight risk indicates that scattered severe thunderstorms are expected, and within those storms, we could see rotating supercells capable of producing violent tornadoes. The highest threat zone today stretches from Houston, Texas, extending eastward into Baton Rouge, Louisiana. This is where a squall line, basically an organized line of intense thunderstorms, will be moving through during the evening and overnight hours. Here's what makes today's setup particularly dangerous. The atmosphere is loaded with Gulf moisture. We're talking dew points in the upper 60s and low 70s, which is incredibly high for mid-February. At the same time, we've got strong wind shear, meaning the wind speed and direction are changing dramatically with height. When you combine that unstable, moisture-rich air with strong shear, you create the perfect recipe for tornadic thunderstorms. The most concerning aspect is the timing. These storms are going to be moving through during the evening hours when people are settling in for the night, and they'll continue overnight when visibility is zero and most people are sleeping. If you're in Houston, Lake Charles, or anywhere across southern Louisiana, you need to have your severe weather plan ready to execute tonight. That means knowing where your safe spot is in your home, having multiple ways to receive warnings because a weather radio or your phone's emergency alerts could save your life, and making sure you're not relying on tornado sirens alone because those are designed for people who are outdoors. I cannot stress this enough. Overnight tornadoes are exponentially more deadly than daytime tornadoes because people don't see them coming, and warning lead times are often shorter. As we move into Sunday, the severe weather threat actually shifts eastward and potentially intensifies across parts of Georgia, Alabama, and the Florida Panhandle. By Sunday afternoon, we could be dealing with discrete supercell thunderstorms, which are essentially isolated rotating thunderstorms that have the highest probability of producing strong, long-track tornadoes. The Storm Prediction Center is already warning that strong tornadoes are possible on Sunday, particularly across a zone from Panama City, Florida, up through southern Georgia near Jacksonville. This puts the Daytona 500 directly in the threat zone, and race organizers are definitely monitoring this situation closely. What concerns meteorologists about Sunday's setup is that we could see supercells develop out ahead of the main line of storms. These discrete cells would have the entire warm sector to work with, meaning maximum tornado potential before they eventually get absorbed into the main squall line. If you're anywhere from Tallahassee to Jacksonville to Valdosta, Georgia, Sunday afternoon between noon and 6 p.m. is when you need to be on highest alert. We're talking about a 5% tornado probability, which translates to a moderate risk of seeing tornadoes in your area. And the environmental parameters suggest these wouldn't necessarily be brief, weak tornadoes, but potentially strong EF2 or even EF3 tornadoes capable of catastrophic damage. Now let's talk about the flooding component of this storm, because while tornadoes grab headlines, flooding kills more people in the United States than any other weather hazard. We're forecasting widespread rainfall totals of 1 to 3 inches across a massive area stretching from Dallas-Fort Worth all the way to Nashville, Tennessee. But here's where it gets concerning. Parts of Arkansas, particularly the region between Little Rock and Memphis, could see localized rainfall totals of 5 to 6 inches. When you drop that much rain in a short period of time, especially in areas that have already received above normal precipitation recently, you're setting up for flash flooding scenarios. Low-lying areas, poor drainage zones, and small creeks and streams are going to rise rapidly. We're talking about water levels going from normal to dangerous in a matter of hours, not days. If you live in a flood-prone area, now is the time to move valuables to higher ground. Ensure your sump pump is working if you have one, and never ever attempt to drive through flooded roadways. The old saying is real: turn around, don't drown. Just 6 inches of moving water can knock you off your feet, and 1 foot of water can sweep away most vehicles. But here's where this storm takes an absolutely wild turn, and this is the development that has completely changed the forecast over the last 24 hours. The northern side of this storm system is now trending toward a significant snow event for parts of the mid-Atlantic and Northeast. I'm talking about potential heavy snow from Washington, D.C. through Philadelphia, New York City, and into southern New England late Sunday night into Monday morning. Now, I need to be crystal clear about something. This snow forecast has massive uncertainty right now. We're still 48 hours out, and the exact track and intensity of this storm as it moves up the coast will determine whether we're talking about a coating of snow or we're talking about 6 to 10 inches shutting down major cities. Here's what's creating this snow potential. As the storm system moves out of the south and approaches the Appalachian Mountains, it's going to encounter a pocket of cold air that's been draining down from Canada. If the storm tracks close enough to the coast and intensifies rapidly, a process meteorologists call bombogenesis, we could see a classic nor'easter setup where heavy snow bands set up and don't move for several hours. The GFS weather model, which is one of our primary forecasting tools, is showing a scenario where Washington, D.C. could see 6 to 10 inches of snow, Philadelphia 8 to 12 inches, and New York City 4 to 8 inches. Meanwhile, the European model, which has been the more accurate model this winter season, is showing a much weaker system with only a coating to 3 inches. This is what we call model disagreement, and honestly, it's incredibly frustrating for forecasters and the public alike. But here's what I can tell you with confidence. There is definitely the potential for impactful snow across the I-95 corridor from DC to Boston Sunday night into Monday. The question isn't if it's going to snow, it's how much. If you have travel plans for Monday, especially if you're flying out of any of the major East Coast airports, you need to be monitoring this forecast closely, because flight delays and cancellations are very possible if the snowier scenario verifies. Airlines will start making operational decisions by Sunday afternoon, so keep an eye on your flight status and have backup plans ready. The National Weather Service right now is taking a conservative approach, forecasting only a coating to perhaps an inch across most areas. I think that's the safer bet at this point, but I also think there's enough signal in the models to suggest this could overperform those expectations. We've seen this pattern before, where a coastal storm intensifies faster than forecast, and suddenly areas that were expecting rain or a mix are getting buried in heavy snow. The key factor to watch is the storm's pressure. If we see the central pressure drop rapidly as it moves up the coast, that's your signal that this is going to be a bigger deal than currently advertised. And just when you think this storm is the end of the story, we need to talk about what's coming next week because Mother Nature is apparently not done with us yet. We have two additional storm systems that are already showing up in the medium-range forecast models for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, Friday. The first system is going to be driven by a powerful atmospheric river event hitting the west coast. An atmospheric river is essentially a river of moisture in the sky, often called a pineapple express when it originates near Hawaii, and these systems can dump incredible amounts of rain and snow. As that west coast system ejects into the Rockies, it's going to phase with jet stream energy diving down from Canada. And that combination is likely to produce a significant winter storm across the northern plains, Midwest, and Great Lakes region by late Tuesday into Wednesday. We're talking about the potential for heavy snow from Minneapolis through Chicago, and potentially into Detroit and Cleveland. The European model is particularly aggressive with this system, showing a widespread swath of 6 to 12 inches of snow, possibly more in localized areas that get stuck under the heaviest bands. Then, almost immediately behind that system, another storm could develop and track across a similar area, Thursday into Friday. If these systems verify as currently modeled, we're looking at a 1-2 punch that could bring major travel disruptions and significant snow accumulations to tens of millions of people across the Midwest and Northeast. This is the kind of pattern that can produce school closures, business disruptions, and all the headaches that come with multiple back-to-back winter storms. What's driving all of this active weather is a significant change in the overall atmospheric pattern. We've essentially flipped from a relatively quiet, ridge-dominated pattern to a highly amplified, stormy pattern with strong jet stream dips and peaks. When the jet stream gets this wavy, we see these intense storm systems developing at the interface between warm and cold air masses. It's classic winter storm season meteorology, but the intensity and frequency of these systems over the next week is notable even by winter standards. For those of you in severe weather zones today and tomorrow, let me give you some specific action items. Number 1, charge your phone and any battery packs you have. Power outages are possible with these strong winds. Number 2, bring in any loose outdoor items that could become projectiles in 60 to 70 mile/hour winds. Patio furniture, grills, decorations, all of that needs to be secured or brought inside. Number 3, fill up your gas tank. If we do see widespread power outages or storm damage, gas stations won't be able to pump fuel. Number 4, stock up on essential supplies. Not talking about panic buying here, but make sure you have enough food, water, and medications for at least 72 hours in case you need to shelter in place. For those in the potential snow zones, different preparation is needed. You know, it's important to have rock salt or ice melt for your walkways and driveways. Make sure your snowblower is working or your shovels are accessible, and have emergency supplies in your vehicle if you absolutely must travel during the storm. I'm talking blankets, a flashlight, a first aid kit, non-perishable snacks, and a full tank of gas. Winter weather stranded motorists is a real thing, and being prepared can literally be the difference between a minor inconvenience and a life-threatening situation. The meteorological community is watching all of these systems closely, and forecasts will continue to be refined as we get better data and the models converge on solutions. What I need you to understand is that this is a dynamic, evolving situation. What I'm telling you right now is based on the best available data, but weather forecasting isn't perfect, and these complex storm systems can and do change. That's why staying informed through official channels, whether that's the National Weather Service, local emergency management, or trusted meteorologists, is absolutely critical. One thing that's absolutely certain is that this Valentine's Day weekend is going to be remembered for all the wrong reasons across large parts of the United States. Instead of romantic dinners and celebrations, millions of people are going to be dealing with severe weather, potential tornado warnings, flooding, and possibly significant snow. It's a reminder that Mother Nature doesn't check the calendar before unleashing her fury, and when atmospheric conditions align for severe weather, it doesn't matter what day it is or what plans we had made. As we track these systems over the coming days, updates will be constant. Weather models run every 6 hours, and with each new model run, we get better clarity on exact timing, intensity, and impacts. If you're in any of the affected areas, now is not the time to be complacent. Now is the time to take this threat seriously, make your preparations, and be ready to act quickly if warnings are issued for your area. The difference between a close call and a tragedy is often just being prepared and taking action when warned. This is exactly the kind of high-impact weather event that demands respect and attention. Multiple threats, wide geographic scope, and the potential for rapid changes make this a challenging forecast. But one thing is crystal clear: significant weather impacts are coming, and being informed and prepared